The Conflux Rivista is basically a youth-based team that is aiming to explore opinions of the youth in terms of stories, music, poetry, and other forms of art. And most of the organizations and institutions prefer giving internships to students who belong to college. But over here at the Conflux Rivista, we try our best to train students in the process of interviewing. We tell them that how to be on the camera. We take regular lessons weekly wherein we can teach students all of that. And secondly, we are also running certain workshops. For example, the recent one was Hardik's Wriggling Workshop, which was held yesterday. We are holding various competitions, one of which was scribblings, in which people had to send us poetry and we could put them forward in front of the audience. We are giving platform to the young authors, and we are trying to promote local talent as much as we can. And this literature fest is just another part of our venture, the Conflux Revista. We in the Lit Fest have 8 sessions, 7 today and one tomorrow. And thank you, sir, for being a part of this session. The theme for this particular session is Heart to Heart with BD, wherein I'll be interviewing sir. And thank you, sir, for coming in once again. And
Thank you so much for reaching out to me and
it's a
inviting me.
it's
Yeah.
a real pleasure to have you with us today. Introducing you, a formal introduction. Pankaj Dubey is an Indian author, screenwriter, director, producer, and social entrepreneur based in Mumbai. Dubey has worked for the BBC World Service in London and TV Today Group in New Delhi. He has curated, programmed more than 50 film festivals across India. He was awarded with the Youth Icon Award for Social Entrepreneurship in 2010 for initiating India's first street film festival for children in slums and villages, the Sadak Chhaap Film Festival. Dubey's debut novel is called What a Loser in English and Loser Kahin in Hindi. And he has written a couple of more books like Love Curry and Ishqiyapa. I've been a co-panelist with him when he came to Amity in the Little Fest, and it's really nice to have him over here once again. So, sir, to start with, I would like to know that what makes your book different from other romantic comedy books? Because if you talk about the process that the authors follow while writing romantic comedy is the introduction, and then there's this point when the two people are meeting, falling in love, the turning point, breakup, and then there's a happy ending. And when we read the summary of your books, it's moreover the same. So, what do you think that makes your book different?
Actually, I never thought of any format, and I hardly read other rom-coms. Neither I categorize my books into romantic comedy all the time because, yeah, I write romance, but it has its own share of socio-political undercurrents of the times it's talking about. So you actually can't follow any formula in all the books, other it's going to be monotonous if you do that. So my point is, if there is a story, if it lives with you, if it skips your heartbeats, just go for it. You sit on it for some days, and if it clicks even after a few days, you can start writing. So I don't set my storytelling and narrative under any category or any fixed formula. That's what I look at it as.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything to add on?
No, you ask me next question.
Yeah, so most of the romantic comedies end with a happy ending, which is obviously a myth in real life. No endings are happy. For example, even if you get married in the end, there are a hell lot of problems after that. So, what's your take on that? Do you plan on writing a book that doesn't have a happy ending?
No, not necessarily. If it's a demand of the story that it has to, end in a happy with a happy note, that's perfectly fine. But I'm not fixed with that. If unhappy ending is creating more impact, and if that's more, significant, that's more relevant, I go by that because there is no, as I told you in my first answer, there is nothing fixed. And mostly I never think of the ending first. I go with the flow, and whatever, feels more relevant by the time you finish it. Because your mental frame also keeps on changing during the journey of writing a book. It takes a lot of time while you finish our writing. So the socio-political scenario also changes, and that impact I find the reflection of the changes happening around me in my writing also, in the way, in the manner my characters behave as well. So I don't fix it beforehand, and I try to let it flow naturally. Baki.
Right, sir. And you in an interview you mentioned that you try to take in your real life people into consideration while deciding on the characters. So, what kind of research do you have to do to enhance the experiences of the characters in the book?
Actually, it's a way of life for me. So my antenna are always, alert. Whenever I move, wherever I go, I meet so many people. I keep traveling. So, that's the kind of research that's happening on its own. It's quite organic in my persona. And when I sit to write, all my characters are made out of real life characters. But what happens is every part of someone's life might not be that interesting. So what I do is I try to club the interesting parts of three, four people and create one character of my novel to make it more interesting if that interest is required in that. So yeah, I think very strongly, I have strong conviction in this that everything, all the emotions that I write, every emotion comes from my surroundings, be it humor, be it satire, be it sorrow, be it thrill. It's all from our day to day life. So I'm an observant guy and I keep on observing from my surroundings and I try to pen that down. Paki.
Right, sir. And since you said in the previous question that you let things flow and you do not follow any mechanical flow
Yeah.
of writing, so what do you think about writing a synopsis? Do you write it in the beginning that acts as a roadmap for you, or do you write it at the end? You wait for the book to end and then you decide on, okay, fine, this is
I,
what
I, I
synopsis.
I feel a synopsis can never be written in the beginning because synopsis is the crux of the overall world that you have created along with the philosophies you have dealt with. So, if the story has not evolved till its finality, I can't write a synopsis. So, I can write a teaser, a basic hint what I'm going to do, but I'm not very sure about that because I may take a different route during the journey. So, I prefer not playing predetermined shots and I always write my synopsis after I'm done with the book, the manuscript.
Right. And where do you begin? What are the five questions that you ask to yourself before deciding your main character? Because deciding the main character is a big thing. You need to know that how does the character interact with other characters? What are the problems that you're gonna put in his journey? So, what are these sort of questions that you ask yourself before deciding your main character?
So the best decision that works for me is that I don't decide because once you decide, you create a syllabus that you have to follow, and that ruins the natural flow of the character and the way it behaves. So sometimes an event inspires, sometimes any character in real life, then I follow that character, what has been the way, the pattern of behavior of that character. So I don't ask five questions to myself. It's not like that. I just see whether anything from the personality trait of that character has been able to move me beyond doubt. Has that been inspiring? And what is the big idea behind that? So, if that works, and sometimes you start with a smaller goal, but during the journey, your goal becomes bigger. Because when you start writing, is a level of maturity that you have. But when you are in the middle of the journey, you have also matured a little more. You know, you are 3 months more mature than yourself, when you had started writing. And world has also changed by 3 more months. So idea is it should be like a small sapling, and the idea should be like a sapling, and your effort is like watering the that sapling and let it grow like a tree eventually.
Right, sir. And since you said that you let it go free flowingly, has it happened to you that you've written a number of words and the story is still stuck over there? It is just about the descriptions and the plot isn't moving. Has it happened to you before and you just ended up scrapping the part?
So for that, what I have devised is I never sit to write while thinking. I write in my mind first. So whenever I have to sit to write, I'm very clear about my writing session, that what I'm going to write now, what all chapters, and those chapters will deal with which part of my novel or story. So once it's clear in my head, if there is clarity of thought and vision, then I sit to write, because for me, writing is quite a religious practice. So I just don't sit and don't write. It can't happen with me. So I sit to write when I know what I'm going to write. I just sit to scripturize. It has already been written in my head. So I just sit and type it and move out.
Yeah, and what do you think that when you're writing a story, all characters can be males, or can all characters be females, or do you like to maintain a balance in your story to break in some stereotypes?
Now, say if I have to write a story on a battalion of army officers on Himalayas, and there are no female characters over there, I won't think, just to balance gender, I should somehow create two women characters for that plot, because that will not be normal and natural. If I have to write a story about Miranda House Girls Hostel, I'll not unnecessarily, bring in the PN and the watchman to maintain a gender balance. So it depends upon the relevance of the context. If the story has a transgender, why not? My point is, we should be true to the story and its philosophy, and we should not look at it as a chemical equation or balancing that equation or a business plan that we do on an Excel sheet. It's different from that. So, as I said, let it flow organically. That helps.
Right, and we all know that strong characters allow us to present people with complexity and encourage empathy. So, have you ever considered the concept of writing from the perspective of a protagonist who might be on the main character's side but have different ideas about how he or she should achieve his or her goal?
Yeah, and for that, I show the conflict in personality of the protagonist himself, or herself, because we sometimes in our real life tend to doubt our movements, our steps, our decisions. There, that's the point where contagionists can also appear. So as I told you, I'm not fixed. So even my sometimes maybe in my future stories, there can't be any heroes. Maybe your protagonist, my protagonist, is a dark character throughout, and in his or her mission to justify the darkness of his or her character. So I don't go by the definitions the classical literature offers us. I just go by the realism of life and relatability in stories and plot. And it's difficult for me to write a sci-fi because I don't relate to that. I love, interpersonal emotions. I love inspiring stories. I love stories of all kinds. I love emotions. So I may write an erotica in the times to come. So whatever fascinates, I get into that.
Okay, so you do not worry about what the audience would like to read, because if you talk about the audience, the readers, usually I've seen people drifting more towards fiction. People like reading Harry Potter. People, even like to escape from the real world. So you would do the writing so that it makes you happy and not for the audience. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, you take care of the audience, but you just can't say that all your books should be read by everybody. There are different tribes of readers for different kinds of stories. And with the growth of the writer and his writings, a tribe is created for every author, every storyteller. Say someone has read my debut novel, What a Loser, loved it, and read Ishqiyapa to Hell with Love, loved it again, then Love Curry, Trending in Love, and suddenly I come up with something else. So my devoted reader will, of course, try that because there is growth in the writer, expansion in the writer. Similarly, there is growth in the reader and expansion of taste and flavor in the reader. Readers are growing much more faster because writers are not writing with the speed readers are reading. Because readers have a lot of options. So I just maintain three things: that there should be honesty in writing, there should be fearlessness in writing, and there should be interesting writing. It can't be preachy or boring. So it has to be interesting, honest, and fearless, and then give a damn.
Right, and what do you think is the most important part of a novel or a story in particular, character, setting, or the situation?
Both, of course. It's like who is more powerful, Dara Singh or Amitabh Bachchan. So you can't compare the two. One is a wrestler, another one is an actor. So both are important. It's like the wheel and the steering of a car. Both are important. So yeah,
Right, sir. And what sort of a research do you do while writing about love stories? Is it only from your personal life, or do you have some sort of an inspiration? What are the books that you like to read?
actually, personally, I'm quite a romantic person, and I love to take inspiration from all my flings also. And as I told you, I would be repeating myself that I'm always in the research mode whenever I'm, in life. When I'm not writing, I'm researching because I'm meeting new people. And yeah, I believe in being in love with love instead of being in love with just one person. And even if the relationship has gone toxic, just for the sake of stability in relationship, you are just wasting your time and your partner's time. So idea is to be in love with love itself, the process of love. And there can be a wide range of love and romance and friendship and bonding and all of that, and different shades also. So yeah, there's so many emotions to get inspired from, also from my friends and from friends and people I like, people I don't like, some people who like me I would not like them, some people I would like, they would not like me. All kinds of, this world is full of moving texts, research material all around with life in them.
Right, and we've received a question from the audience which says that would you mind diving deep into discussing your inspiration for the book What a Loser and Ishqiyapa to Hell with Love?
Why not? Like Water Loser, I believe, is in a way semi autobiographical because I had my heartbreak when I was in, first year of graduation. My childhood, one sided love had written a letter to me कि हम बेवफा हरगिज न थे पर हम वफा कर न सके, and that was very serious because I grew up in an environment where if you had a crush in school time you would think of getting married because we grew up watching Suraj Badajatya films. Anurag Kashyap had not come by then, and from there the growth of the character, and then I clubbed the traits from many other friends. So What a Loser in a way is also a story of the conflict of identity of a small towner coming to a metropolitan city and his fight to get accepted, where his language is slightly different, his attire is different, his thought process is different. But what is common is the passion he has for his journey, for his growth, external as well as internal. And as far as Ishqiyapa to Hell with Love is concerned, it's about the changing nature of dreams in the kids growing after globalization in 1991. Before that, you would find kids who would practice a lot of cricket to try to become Sachin Tendulkar and Mahendra Singh Dhoni. But after the advent of globalization in India, kids are interested in buying cricket teams and going to the auctions to buy more cricketers. So the size and the nature of dreams in children have changed. So Ishqiyapa has many definitions, and it also talks about post globalization, love and dream and aspirations. So it's soon coming. What a Loser is coming as a movie, and Ishqiyapa will soon be seen as a web series on Alt Digital. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I read about this thing, and I feel that you're thinking of starring Ayushmann Khurrana and Taapsee Pannu in the movie, right?
That was on my wish list a little, sometime back, and that keeps on changing because when you reach out to the star becomes bigger, the star becomes superstar, and you are still a debutant director. So then you go to a different actor, and then the last actor who wanted to do Loser and wanted to produce also was Sushant Singh Rajput, and unfortunately, due to his premature demise, that is on hold. So I don't know who accepts to be the loser and becomes a winner eventually. So I'm just waiting for that moment to come patiently. Then this lockdown came, and I thought Corona should be the loser because Corona is the trending organism of the universe these days. So let's see. Uh, you know, it's like making a film here is like weighing some live frogs on a balance. You know, बोलते हैं ना खुली तराजू पे मेंढक तौलने जैसा है. When you have the actor, you don't have a producer. When you have the story, you don't have the actor. When everything is there, COVID comes, and this is the thrill, you have to chase things, you have to try so that your story can reach out to more audience, those who are busy to read your books or those who are illiterate to read your books, they can still watch and they can get entertained. So yes,
Yes, and COVID has absolutely changed a lot of things. Even in
yeah.
my last year, and everything changed. We had a lot of plans that this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, and everything just changed in a matter of second when we were asked to, grab our luggage from the hostel and leave immediately within an hour or two. So this is how COVID changed everything. But Pratik Kuhar's song Kasoor, when it came out, it felt so creative and it felt so nice that even if in these times we even in these times we can try ourselves to be creative, we can make things very innovative. And I would really like if you do something in that creative essence, because that is what will make your movie different from others. I know that that might sound a little stupid, but this is what I personally think, sir. And moving to the next question, we have received the question from Muskan. She is talking about, do you read reviews? If yes, then how do you deal with good or bad reviews?
Oh, I love to read reviews, and whenever there is a bad review, I try to understand the veracity of the criticism. If I feel that the critic has pointed out something which is really correct, which should, which could be corrected, I try to learn from that so that the same mistake is not repeated in the next work, because critics, they keep you on toes so that the quality of your work is improved in the next one. So I look at all the criticism very positively, and I try to learn from that. And whenever it's an admiration, I love to be admired. I love it, and thankfully so far the majority of admiration is there. So yeah, it's a mix of, it's like a sweet and salt, fresh lime soda.
So, what made you keep your book name as What a Loser? Did you just get inspired from your own life, and did you face some sort of a loss that made you keep the name of the book What a Loser? And would you like to say something on the art of not
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
up?
Actually, what a loser is not a declaratory statement as a title. It has a mark of exclamation also. That means there is a debate around. I strongly feel that all of us are loser in something or the other. And the moment we lose the weaknesses we have, we'll be able to win over bigger things in life. We have to lose small battles to win the bigger war. So here it's about losing your inhibitions. It's about losing your prejudices, your reluctance, and winning over the confidence over a ticket to do better in life. So it's not about you are a loser. It doesn't cover the entire life you have. It covers a very small segment which has inspired you to win rest of the life. So it's about that. And there is a natural quirk in my mind and personality. I try to make things interesting right from the cover to the title. Other than the price, everything has to be interesting
Right.
because that will drag your audiences towards it. Because first they need to touch your book if the cover is and the title is fancy enough and quirky enough and thought provoking enough, then the very first page should be able to hold your attention. So I'll request everyone who all are watching or listening to me to read beyond the blurb. Just don't go by the blurb of my books. Read the books and criticize if you dislike, and love me more if you like.
Right, sir. And since you mentioned about the first being very interesting enough, how do you think of the beginning? Has it happened to you before that what you thought of the beginning is not the beginning anymore, and it's somewhere in the third chapter now?
No, normally, so far, I have not been able to change my beginnings because whatever comes to first, the most fresh thought, holding the attention, that has been working. So it's not that I've gone to the third chapter, then coming back to the first. But of course, I'm open to changes. Sometimes I get some suggestions from my editor, and I wholeheartedly accept that if that's working more for the book. Because once it's out of your laptop, it becomes a joint project, between the writer and the publisher. And the goal is common, the agenda is common to create a wonderful book for everyone to read, to get associated with. So there is no magic behind this. It's about whatever comes to your mind first, whatever is able to move your heart first.
Right.
Yeah.
And would you mind telling us something about your journey? Because it's a very difficult question for an author, of course, who can write books on a particular topic to describe his or her journey in just a minute or two. But I would like you to tell your journey by yourself. I know it, but I want the audience to know it in your own words.
No, actually, it's not very uh, heavy the way it reads on my Wikipedia profile. Basically, the formula of my life has been the idea rather has been to take myself not very seriously. That's the problem most of us do. We take ourselves very seriously. So I just keep on following my heart whenever when I feel to write, I write. When I don't feel like writing, I don't. When I have to make a movie, I do that. I have to go for talks, I do that. So basically, I'm a storyteller and I, you know, adopt different forms of storytelling. So when my stories come in the form of print, I'm known as an author. When I make them into films, I'm known as a filmmaker. So society has coined a lot of words, but primarily I'm a storyteller that I have been doing since my childhood. I was not paid at that point of time. I'm paid now because the world has changed. Now storytellers are paid and they are bought, so it's perfectly fine. And I those two golden formula golden values are always there in my heart and mind, to be honest towards my feelings and to be very fearless towards expressing my feelings. Because if we don't take ourselves seriously and we have those two values, we can create magic. Keeping that in mind, the soul of the writing should be interest. It has to be interesting because we have a lot of textbooks in our syllabus already prescribed, most of which has been boring. So there should be some interesting content. Otherwise, you'll not be read. So this is a small thing, and the journey has just begun. Miles to go and romance a lot. So it's okay. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. And since you talked about storytelling and you've been a storyteller, I'm sure that a lot of people come to you and ask you for some guest shows that you can come and talk to people, narrate some stories or whatsoever. So the first question the person, a storyteller, usually asks is that. Who's my audience? Because since you knew that the youth was your audience, you're talking in that particular perspective. But what if that person tells you that everyone is my audience? How do you tackle that sort of a situation? Because everyone has different needs. Everyone wants to hear a different thing. What a person at 30 likes, maybe I do not like because I'm 20. So what do you think helps you to adjust you in that particular situation?
No, as I told you, I go by heart. So whatever is your biological age, there is a heart inside you that beats, and that keeps you young. Even if you are 40, 50, 60, 70, if you have a feeling, if you have emotions, it works. So I keep the feeling as the common chord between people of all age group biologically. So yeah, I go by that. So and if our story is inspiring, it's inspiring for everyone. So I have taken my non-seriousness very seriously because that helps me reaching out to everyone. Because the moment you become very serious, you are creating a trench between the reader and the audience and yourself. So, non seriousness is a great practice to be done seriously. That helps you reach out to everybody. That's something I've
That
devised.
Yes, sir, that is definitely a quote and unquote material that you gave us. Anyway, sir, what is your idea of success, and uh, who would you think that you need to declare that this success is because of you?
No, can you please ask the question again? There was some issue with the audio.
Okay, so sure. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Who would you dedicate your success to, and what is your idea of success? Do you think that you're successful, or do you need to work more on yourself?
Uh, I I have stopped talking much about success because I find success is quite a uh, term of the past. What I work around is accomplishments. So I want to be accomplished, not successful, and that happens when you are satisfied with what you are doing. So in that manner, I feel I'm quite accomplished because I'm enjoying whatever I'm doing, and I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm enjoying every moment of my life. Today, I had this talk and I was so excited about this. Then I have certain meetings, I'm quite happy about those meetings. So I believe in accomplishments and I believe in every day, cherishing every moment. And yeah, I'm accomplished and a lot to do, and that will happen with the time. So I'm patient enough and I'm quite satisfied. So and the credit, of course, to a lot of friends since my childhood, because in my case, friends have been quite instrumental. I always believed in ascribed family than achieved family, because if you come from a family, you may not like 5 people out of 10 in the family, but you can't do anything about it because they are not going to change. But the family that you create outside your family, family of friends, that is priceless because you choose them and you have all the right to behave properly and to be treated properly. So, you create your own world and that inspires you, that, you know, that group loves you, that criticizes you unconditionally. Because in your family, people won't criticize also, even if you're doing average work, people will say, very good, very nice, at least you tried. That is quite a loser statement. So, I want to be saved by people from the family, and I want to develop more resilience with the help of my friends and keep on moving happily. So all credit and cash goes to friends.
Okay, so this is something that that's very new to me, that I'm hearing, that you're dedicating your success to your friends and not to your family. And since you talked
Yeah,
about
of course,
family,
family is there, of course, but the bigger credit goes
right?
to friends. The
I
family was created.
And if you talk about my family, it's been they've been criticizing since a very long time. They'll never be satisfied with whatever I do. So over here, the case is a little different, but obviously, it's just a matter of perspective. How do we see things?
Yeah. And there are no fixed rules. I may change in my by my next talk, so chill. Take it easy.
Right. So because there are situations that keep on occurring, and you just cannot keep a hold on them. So right, you're absolutely right. And so my last question to you will be: did you ever think that you would be an author? Did you always wanted to be an author because your father was a professor? So was everything very motivating at home?
No, I basically wanted to be very rich and famous. So,
And sorry, sir,
idea,
I'm sorry,
idea,
sir, I'm
yeah.
interrupting in between, but what would you choose in between being rich and famous?
No, both has to come together. Yeah, if I have to opt for one to fame later, I would have opted for fame because if you're famous, then others pay for you for your bills. So yeah, so the work happened later. The final result came before in mind, the wealth and the fame by legitimate ways. So yeah, and it's happening. And if I have to keep something unfinished for which I'm still waiting, and I'll be happiest the day I'll be able to be mobbed. So I'm waiting for that. So that would be so cool, when you're traveling and you're mobbed, you're not able to move because you're so famous. So yeah, that helps me moving and doing things.
Right. And so the question was that did you always wanted to be an author? Did you think of it in the start?
No, it happened quite late when I was working with the BBC World Service in London, and one day after my night shift, I was going back home, and in the morning, 4 o'clock, I saw some 100 people standing in central London waiting for a bookstore to open because next morning Harry Potter's series' next book was coming, J.K. Rowling's. So I was so astonished to see writers are so big stars in England. And then I thought, oh, stardom can be achieved even by writing. And then the idea sparked, okay, at least this is in my hand and I can do this on my own. I have so many stories. I'm a good storyteller. I have a manageable grip over language. And then I thought of, let me try authorship also. And rest is a history in making.
And do you see yourself as a full-time writer writing books in future? That'll be my last question to you.
Oh no, because I feel I'm so versatile and I do a lot of things. So I'll keep on trying different ways of storytelling, not just writing all the time. I'll be doing other stuffs also. Maybe I'll get into oral forms, and I'm also doing a podcast with Audible, Amazon's Audible. It's called Old School Romance. I'll announce soon about it, and so I'll be practicing different ways of storytelling, not just writing all the time. I love to meet people, talk to people. And writing is quite an activity of seclusion. You tend to meet people after the writing is done. So, yeah, I'll do everything. I'll enjoy the my being versatile. I love to make new friends, so I do it like this.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure having you with us here today. It was an
thank
absolutely
you.
great session. You are a very good example of the people who just cannot follow a plan. It's all about life, and you cannot keep on planning everything. Thank you, sir, for motivating everyone with your words. It was really nice to have you over here, and we hope to have you once again over here on this platform in a different event, obviously. So thank you so much.
And
Thank
when the camera would be working. And
you.
thank you, Paki, to you, to Chirag, to everyone of the team, of your team. And you guys are doing a rocking job, and you have started something very interesting, and it should continue and grow more. I'll always be available whenever you need me, and love you all.
Thank you so much. Sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you.